guys, Miss Dawkins here from the greenhouse. It's good to see you today. I hope you guys have had a good last week. I hope your Easter weekend, I hope you are able to get out and do something fun. I know it's getting hard to be at home all the time. I feel the same way. I'm not a homebody. Those of you that know me well know that I love to get out and do things and go places. So this has been difficult, but we can do this, guys. So today I have a book to read to you. It's called There's Nothing to Do on Mars. It's by Chris Gall. And just remember, if you feel like there's nothing to do at your house while you're in quarantine with your family, there is something to do. You just have to have the energy to get up and find it. There's nothing to do on Mars. When Davy Martin's family moved to Mars, he thought he'd never make a friend again. "You'll be fine," his father said. "You've got your dog," his mother said. "There's lots to do on Mars," they insisted. But Davy knew there was nothing to do on Mars. The nights were very cold, the dust storms were terrible, and there was no water anywhere. "I'm bored," Davy shouted one day. "Go out and play," his father shouted back. Davy hopped on his scooter. His dog, Polaris, chased after him. "Okay, you know the rules," Davy reminded Polaris. "Don't bark at the moons and be careful what you sniff. You might overload your circuits." So what kind of dog does Davy have? Polaris couldn't fetch, and sometimes his batteries leaked all over the floor, but he did have a remarkable nose. Once he even smelled some old socks that Davy left behind on Earth. Polaris beeped and clicked, and together they raced across Mars. Let's see, where's the dog? Oh, right here. This whole thing, that's his dog Polaris. My dog Oakley's not a robot. Probably be cheaper to feed her, huh? They zoomed over dry riverbeds, zipped through deep canyons, and zigzagged around giant craters. They even spotted some ancient volcanoes. "I'm bored," Davy said. "Let's climb a tree." The tree they found had been thirsty for many years and had become quite cranky. And when the tree began to moan and groan and shake its brittle branches, David quickly jumped down. "I'm bored," Davy said. "Let's build a fort." Thanks to the light Martian gravity, Davy found the rocks very easy to lift. "It's not a bad fort, I guess, but why do all the rocks on Mars have to be red?" Davy grumbled. From high up on the steps, Polaris noticed a horrible stench coming from the valley. He whirred and clattered with excitement. "Martians!" Davy shouted. That's quite a fort. Hey, have you ever built a fort out of blankets and pillows? Maybe that's something you could do when you get bored. The Martians had not been able to take a bath in a very long time, and they smelled worse than skunks. Davy and Polaris joined them in a big rain dance right away, hopping and howling like real Martians. Soon the stink of Martians became too much. When Polaris began to wobble and stagger, Davy thought it might be time to sneak away. "I'm bored," Davy whispered. "Let's dig for buried treasure." Polaris sniffed out a good spot and started to dig. All he found was an old bone. All Davy found was an old toy. Suddenly, Polaris sat up and put his nose to the thin Martian air. He buzzed and beeped and bolted for the horizon. "Find the treasure," Davy called, and sped after Polaris, who was bounding toward the most extraordinary mountain on Mars. At the very top of the mountain, Polaris and Davy began digging furiously at the center of a giant crater. The more they dug, the softer the dirt became, until the ground began to crack and hiss and shake like pudding. Polaris's batteries started to leak. Davy's stomach did a somersault. They dashed for the scooter, and just as Davy reached for the handlebars, uh-oh. I wonder what happened. Water rushed down the canyons, raced through the riverbeds, and flooded into empty oceans. The scooter screamed ahead of the crashing waters. Davy didn't dare look back. He could hear the roar right behind them. Later that day, Davy and Polaris bounded through the door. "Well, young man, did you find something to do?" his mother asked. Polaris sneezed. Davy smiled. Red mud oozed out of his pants. His mother turned around slowly and peered out the door. "Oh my," she said. At first, everybody was happy to have water back on Mars, especially because the Martians started bathing again. No one was happier than Davy, who spent much of his time surfing. But soon, many more people came from Earth, and they came with ships and hotels and sunscreen. "Oh dear," Davy's mother sighed one day. "I miss our old Mars without so many people about." "Maybe we should move to Saturn," Davy's father suggested, and Davy's eyes grew big. Davy knew there was nothing to do on Saturn. For your assignment this week, I want you guys to imagine that you lived on another planet. It could be a planet that's already in our solar system, or you can invent your own planet. Have fun, and I hope you guys enjoyed the book, There's Nothing to Do on Mars. Hi, you guys remember my dog Oakley? Here she is. She's not a robot dog like the book. She is going crazy right now. She wants a treat. Come here. Come here. Okay. Let's go check in with my dog Oakley. She gets pretty bored sometimes too. I have to take her on lots of walks. Oakley, say hi to the kids. Oakley, say hi. All right, guys. Bye. Until next time. Be creative. Have fun.